listeners. Welcome to Baggage Claim. I'm your host, Lauren Osborne. And as you know, on this podcast, we're here to bring our baggage, to investigate the luggage, check what's inside, and then decide what souvenirs we're keeping and what we want to check in or just throw away. So tonight, I have a special guest. Her name is Jennifer. Everyone say hi to Jennifer. Hey, Jennifer.
Hi. Thanks for having me.
How are you doing?
I am good. I'm a little nervous, but I'm good.
Yeah, don't be nervous. It's a relaxing environment. We're just here to have a good time, just chat. I like to do icebreakers first, do you feel like you have some baggage that you want to bring, anything you want to drop off? Don't tell me the details, but do you feel like you have some baggage to bring?
Sure. As we previously discussed, I would like to talk a little bit about friendship changes and how they occur throughout your life, especially as you get older, particularly with healing and personal evolution.
Okay. Oh, I like that. It's going to be a good night. So I always start with icebreaker questions. So I have three. I kind of mix them up, but I always like to start with the first one because it just gets the vibe going. And I like it to give our listeners and audience a chance to kind of get to know you better. Okay. So what did emotions look like growing up?
For me, emotions were unsupported, chaotic, and desperate. I grew up in a very traumatic home, and I did know that I wanted to create a way to escape that one day. So I did always work hard, but that also created a lot of my people-pleasing characteristics that will very much play into our conversation today.
Recovering people pleaser?
I hope so.
I'm working through that as well.
I don't know about the recovery part, but we'll see.
One day at a time, one step at a time.
Right.
Okay, thank you for sharing. I always tell people, for me, since you've heard it before, listeners, for me, it was always to be seen and not heard, to just be an obedient child.
Children are to be seen and not heard.
There,
I was taught.
So, period. Okay, my second question is, when was the last time that you had like a perfect day? Just like such a good day. And can you tell us about it?
Yes. I actually just reshared this on my Facebook here recently, but it was, I believe, July 7th last year.
Okay.
I had taken myself to Paris for the first time.
I do remember that.
I had just an amazing morning at a cafe, drinking my coffee and Baileys. I had a great dinner on the boat. I decided to go ahead and stay up and go see the lights at the Eiffel Tower because I hadn't been up late enough to see them yet. And I got a call from my boss, and she had told me about my bonus. And so I was able to immediately schedule my next trip to Paris off of that bonus.
Love it.
And I met a cute boy that liked me. And, at the time I was thinking, nobody sees me anymore. So it was just a great day. And it was one that I really gave myself.
Yeah.
I feel like I had been waiting for that day for a long time.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
I'm super happy for you. Which is a great pivot to my final icebreaker question. And what is joy to you?
So I'm going to be very forthcoming here. Many, many years ago when we lived together, I was dealing with a lot of depression and personal conflict. And one time you said, it's like you don't have joy in your life. And defensively, I was like, I have joy. And I really didn't. And you saw that. I just didn't know how to hear it. And
my delivery is not great.
But
often.
no, it was something that I never stopped thinking about in a way where I like wanted to find it, you know? So I'm blunt too, you know, and so I appreciated the honesty that there was in that, even though I was defensive at the time.
Yeah.
And so I have caught myself so many times recently, though. I've really worked on a lot of healing, a lot of personal work, and so many times where things have happened to me recently, you know, job changes, friendship changes, stressors, family deaths, things like that, my dog dying, things like that really kind of would have put me in a little bit of a tailspin before.
Right.
And when I say a little bit, I don't really mean a little bit, you know?
Right.
And now it's amazing. I'll have the emotions for a couple hours. And then all of a sudden I'm just like, I've got a plan. I decide to be healthy about it. I'm on top of it. And sometimes I will literally cry in appreciation of myself for giving myself the ability to be more stable in those moments. And that in itself is a very, very pure joy to me. I have goosebumps talking about it because it means so much to me. And it's something that's just for me and other people might not get, but that is... it's such an escape from the way that I grew up and the emotions I was programmed to have.
I can appreciate that. And for the listeners that maybe don't get it, blessings to you, right? Like, I feel like you're super
genuinely
lucky.
Happy for their
right. Like, but I totally understand that. Like, where you're like, okay, all these things. If I think back of how I think before I would have crumbled and then just acted out, right? Or in my therapist's words, if it was like, I would have gone to like manager or firefighter, right?
Right.
Versus seeing myself being able to regulate and understand that like emotions, you are not your feelings.
But you're allowed to have them.
But you're allowed to have them. As you should, right?
And when you honor those feelings, you love yourself.
Right.
And just in that act of loving yourself and honoring those feelings, you recognize that they're not the actual obstacle.
Yes. Yeah. And it's taken me, you know, I do this thing where I try to be like a logical person. So I'll try to like logic my way out of feeling things.
To a fault.
Like literally.
Yeah.
But seeing, I guess, the progress for myself personally, especially, I mean, who knows yourself more than you, right?
Right.
Seeing the progress and seeing how it doesn't, they don't paralyze me in the way that they used to.
Right. And who should be more proud of you than yourself?
Right. True.
Knowing those things.
True.
You know? And that's joy, you know? Knowing that this isn't something you have to overcome again because you already overcame it. Now you're just equipped to handle it.
Right.
Yeah.
And handle it much better.
Much more gracefully.
Much more gracefully. So listeners, I'm sorry if you keep hearing me clear my throat. I don't know if it's like allergies. I don't know if it's but listen, if there's an ad for a cough drop, count me in. Baggage Claim Podcast. So tonight, literally, we're checking in. I honestly am going to give the floor to you. I'm going to channel my inner Oprah, right? Okay. And so what you feel inclined to share, I'm going to make sure to listen. And then I like to ask, like, what do you want from me, right? As the person sitting next to you, right? Like, you're a person, like, do you want my opinion? Do you want just a listening ear? Do you want me to gas you up?
I mean, as a hyper-independent person, I don't want to ask anything of you. But that's the people pleaser in me, right? I want you to chime in where you feel like you want to chime in.
Okay.
If that's in an ADD fashion, if that's in an empathy fashion, if that's in a, wait, stop that sentence, I have to say something now. Do that. I want it to be authentic conversation.
Okay. I love that. I love that you threw in the ADHD one, right? Because like we're prone to interrupt and it's like, I don't even mean to be rude. Like I just have to get this thought out. It was like killing me. Okay, so where do you want to start?
Well, as the whole baggage thing, one of my larger check-ins these days.
You're checking into TOS or checking in
I'm dragging it to the airport, trying to figure out what I'm going to do with it, right?
I like it.
It is in tow, and it's making my arm tired. We'll say that, right?
Okay.
So my biggest thing right now is, clearly I have found joy. I've done really well with my career.
Mm-hmm.
I have started behaving in more healthy manners, kind of all across the board.
Mm-hmm.
Less self-sabotaging, just more stable and regulated in every aspect of my life. And in that regulation and joy and having more to offer in general, you would think that the old friendships that you had would only grow stronger because you feel like maybe you're in a position to give them more love because you love yourself more and, show up for them more because you have better energy and, just the bandwidth to be more thoughtful, things like that. However, what I have been experiencing is quite opposite of that. I have had friends that I've had my entire adulthood suddenly start treating me differently, in a sense where I definitely was feeling the alienation. I was worried that maybe I was being self-conscious, that I was being awkward in trying to ask them if what I was noticing was accurate. In my experience, only to feel like I was being gaslit and learning later that while they were telling me I had nothing to be self-conscious about, they were in fact withdrawing from me without explanation.
I was going to ask that. I was going to say,
I never, I didn't do anything.
Right.
Like literally. And I never gave them anything but like immense love. Some of these people were literally my family. And, in some aspects.
The chosen family.
Yeah. Well, and also some of them I was very much actually a part of their family for several years, to the point where I could go to Thanksgivings with them and everybody knew me. And I never understood what I did wrong. But as my final act of love to them, I decided that I wouldn't lose it for once and beg or demand or decide to fight them for an explanation. I decided not to be confrontational. I decided to accept the reality as it was. And if it came down to there were things that they just didn't understand about me, whether it be through assumption or, just not relating to me anymore, I decided to release them with love. And beyond grateful for all of the fantastic times and memories. But in that decision, which I knew was a healthy one, as sad as it has made me, there is a lot of grief that comes with it. Even when you know you're doing the right thing. For both yourself and them. You can find yourself returning back to those very old, very young feelings, old as in, timeline old, young, scared little girl who feels like she's not good enough.
The little you.
The little me that just wanted the love in that chaotic household. And not knowing what I did wrong because I had been such a people pleaser, and one